like, subscribe, and leave a comment. So here is your review of Raw and SmackDown June 12th, week commencing. So leave a comment, hit the notification button, and listen to my review. So it starts with Rhea Ripley coming out, and she's basically given her new title by Adam Pearce, as they did in SmackDown. And then Dom comes out to put the belt around her waist. Obviously, Dom gets booed heavily. Then Cody comes out, basically calls out Brock, said Brock still hasn't answered the challenge, but he's probably not going to be there. So he challenges Dominic Mysterio to face him at Money in the Bank. And then as they're talking about the match, Miz turns up and then starts to starts to attack Cody Rhodes. And then Dom gets a lucky shot in, and Rhea Ripley accepts the challenge for Dom on his behalf. Then we have our first match, with Cody Rhodes versus The Miz in a good match. But come on now, knowing it being Cody right now, Cody wins by the crossroads. Then we have Becky Lynch come out, says she's never won the Money in the Bank before, and she's got a good feeling about this year in the Money in the Bank match. Obviously, Zoe comes out. Zoe Starks come out. They start going back and forth. And then Chelsea comes out as well and starts running her mouth. Chelsea and Sonya start running her mouth. Then that leads into a match with Becky Lynch and Chelsea Green in a really competitive match, but in the end, the man wins. Then we have Judgment Day in the back, basically bragging about what's been happening recently, the wins they've been having, and Finn seemed to be really off with Priest, and Priest just wants Finn's head back in the game, basically. And also, Priest said he's going to face Riddle tonight, and he wants no one interfering. He wants to go out there alone. So let's see what happens, and will they stick to it? So that goes straight into Priest versus Riddle for the Money in the Bank qualifying match. Really good fight, but in the end, Damian Priest got the winner. I don't know if Riddle's been punished for his absence recently, but no idea. But he's lost anyway. Then as he wins, Gunther and Kaiser comes down to beat down Riddle, and he got a beat down. Then we got Cody Rhodes calling out Brock and Dom, and said he will see Dom in England for Money in the Bank. Then we have Natalya saying she doesn't feel herself anymore. We'll see what happens there. She's going to change to a different character or something. We'll see. Then we have Sami Zayn and KO having a talk about how they're going to get a bit payback against the Imperium, and then Imperium turn up basically bragging about KO losing to Kaiser, and then they said they want the titles, and basically KO said, okay, we'll fight for the tag team titles, let's go. Then we have Ricochet versus Bronson Reed in a really good match, but in the end nobody won because Shinsuke Nakamura, he came down but got involved because Bronson Reed threw Ricochet into him while I was at the commentating desk, as they always do. Then we have KO and Sami Zayn talking about the game plan to beat the guys in the main event, and then KO says, yeah, he's good, because obviously KO has a tantrum, he goes off, but he said he's okay, so we'll see. Then Finn comes out. This is probably a really funny segment. Finn comes out to confront Seth, and he said he wanted to get something off his chest, but while he was trying to say that, the whole crowd kept singing for minutes and minutes and minutes on end. Finn couldn't get his words out. It was it was hilarious. If you haven't seen this segment, go and watch the segment. It was really funny. Either of them couldn't get their words out, and Seth was just laughing. But in the end, Seth was just like, listen, Finn is bitter, but Seth is better and is a better version of himself. So we'll see what happens. Then we had Shayna Baszler versus Raquel in a really good match, but in the end, Shayna got the win due to interference from Ronda Rousey. Then we had Eric versus Chad Gable in a really good match, but in the end, Chad got the win. Then we have Damian Priest in the back, once again telling Finn to make this his situation with Seth count, and he wants the and then Seth then goes to Seth, who then makes an open challenge for his title. So let's see who answers the challenge. Then it's announced that Logan Paul is back on Raw next week. So let's see what he says. He might even answer. He's probably going to answer the open challenge for Seth Rollins. There you go. I just gave you a match. You're welcome, WWE. You should employ me and put me on a fat contract. Then in the main event of the evening, it's Sami Zayn and KO versus Imperium for the tag team titles. Really good match. Riddle comes down as well and started to fight with Gunther, and then in the end, Sami gets the win. Then we go to SmackDown. So SmackDown starts with Roman Reigns, Paul Heyman and Solo pulling up in the truck. Then we have our first match was a tag team gauntlet match. So it starts off with the Street Profits versus the Brutes. The Brutes win. Then it's the Brutes versus the OC. The OC win. Then it's the Brutes versus LWO. The Brutes win. Then it's Brutes versus Hit Row. Come on now, Hit Row don't win anything. Brutes win. Then in the end, it's Brutes versus Pretty Deadly in the match, in the main event or the last match. The winner is the number contender, and in the end, Pretty Deadly wins. So they're the number one contender for the tag team titles. Then we have KO and Sami Zayn come out, congratulate Pretty Deadly, and then basically they go to attack Pretty Deadly. And then we have Paul in the back. Paul Heyman is speaking to Roman. Roman asks him, has he spoke to Jay yet? And obviously Paul Heyman hasn't, so Roman tells Paul, go and speak to Jay. So things are getting a bit heated backstage. Then we have Io Sky versus Zelina in a really good match, but in the end Zelina got the win. Then we have Bianca Belair. Obviously she's not happy. She talked to Adam Pearce because she has not gotten a rematch after her loss in the last pay-per-view at Night of Champions to Oscar. So Adam Pearce is like, I'm looking into it. So Bianca Belair goes, I'm going to take things into my own hands. Then we have the Grayson Waller show. His special guest there is Charlotte Flair. Even before Charlotte could get a word in edgeways, she basically was saying she's got Oscar's number. This is why she's facing Oscar next. Bianca Belair comes out and she goes, where is her rematch? And Charlotte goes, where's her rematch? She didn't get a rematch. Obviously lost her title as well. And basically Bianca starts saying, well, the difference with me and you, I didn't lose and go home for 3 months. I'm here and I still want my title. And Charlotte was like, listen, I'm 14-time world champion. I do what I want. I skip the line. And then Bianca goes, well, I'm the longest running women's champion in modern history. So yeah. So then we'll see. And then when them two are going to fight, when it's Oscar versus Charlotte, Bianca says she's going to be ringside and she wants the winner. Then we have Paul Heyman saying sorry. So he runs into Jay and he says sorry to Jay, as look what Jimmy did. He said he told you the truth. Jimmy is not the guy, and the Jay doesn't deserve to be treated how he's been treated by Jimmy. So let's see what happens there. Then we had a mixed tag match: AJ Styles and Mia Chin versus Scarlett and Karrion Kross in a really good match. But in the end, Karrion Kross got the win. Then Paul Heyman comes and says no, he wasn't able to speak to, well, he just says no. He didn't say anything, he just said to Roman, no. So best shaking his head, said no. And then Solo goes, does he need to do anything? Roman goes, no, it's not, you don't need to do anything. So we'll see what happens. Then we had Rey Mysterio in the ring endorsing Santos Escobar. Santos Escobar comes out, gives a real passionate promo, said he's coming for the Money in the Bank and it's his time now, he's been working towards this. As that happens, LA Knight comes out and attacks him. So that turns into a match with LA Knight against Escobar in a really good match. But in the end, Escobar wins. Then in the main segment, it's Roman Reigns comes out with Paul Heyman and Solo. Straight away, Jey Uso comes out. And Jey Uso is like, saying to Roman's like, what's it going to be then? You join in or not? And then Jey goes, he asks him the same question, goes, do you want me to join or do you not want me to join or what? Then basically Roman says, listen, Jey, for 3 years we've been grooming you to take over the mantle, to take over being the tribal chief. We've been grooming you. This is why your main event, Jey Uso. Then the crowd started chanting Usos, and Roman saying, listen, 3 years ago or 10 years ago, they weren't chanting anything. We've built up to this. They're now chanting your name. You're now in main events. You owe the tribal chief this. Then Jimmy comes out and Jimmy goes, listen, Jey, don't listen to him. Come with me. Don't listen to what he's saying. He's talking garbage. And then Jey goes, listen, because Jey wasn't meant to be Roman Reigns' right-hand man. And then Roman Reigns said, there's one person who's against him being my right-hand man, against you being my right-hand man, Jey. And that was your brother Jimmy. And then Jey tried to say that Jimmy was hating and he was trying to hold him back and hold him down. And then Jey goes, you know what, Jimmy, you're out of the bloodline. Then he goes, so am I. And he blasts Roman Reigns in his head. Oh, wow, OMG moment. And then they took out Solo afterwards and he blasts Roman Reigns again. Oh, no. Looks like the bloodline is over. What's going to happen next week on Raw and SmackDown? OMG. Like, subscribe and leave a comment.